"Are you serious, Darren? Still holding on to something from high school?" That's the exact line that hit me like a slap across the face last week. It didn't come from Mason. It came from my own mother. It was late in the evening, and I had stopped by my parents' house because my sister Claire had invited me over for dinner. I didn't even know Mason had already reached out to them, but apparently he had. He'd told them that he tried contacting me, that I wouldn't answer, and that he was desperate. So when my mom cornered me in the kitchen, arms folded, staring at me like I was some heartless monster, those words came flying out of her mouth. "Are you serious, Darren? Still holding on to something from high school? He's family. He's struggling, and you're ignoring him." I froze. The plate in my hand trembled. I wanted to scream, to tell her how she had screamed at me the night Mason betrayed me. I wanted to ask if she had forgotten all the things she said back then, the things that still keep me awake some nights. But I couldn't even get the words out. Instead, I said quietly, "You weren't the one he betrayed." "I was." Her response? She laughed like it was absurd. "Oh, for heaven's sake, Darren. You're grown now. Why are you acting like a victim still?" The word victim cut deep. Claire, who was drying dishes at the counter, turned around sharply. "Mom, stop." Her voice was low but firm. "You don't get to dismiss what Mason did to him. You don't know how much it hurt." My mom rolled her eyes, muttering something about how both of us were being dramatic. I wanted to leave right then, but before I could, my phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a message from Mason. Again, this time it wasn't just words. It was a photo of his car, with the caption, "This is where I've been sleeping. Please, Darren, don't leave me like this." I shoved my phone back into my pocket so fast that my mom didn't see. My chest was pounding. That night, when I got home, I sat on my bed staring at the wall. 10 years of silence. 10 years of anger. And now, suddenly, Mason was everywhere. In my phone, in my mother's mouth, in my head. I thought back to that night when I was 16. The shouting, the names, the way Mason wouldn't even look at me afterward, as if I was something dirty. I remembered locking myself in my room, tears soaking my pillow, wondering if I even mattered anymore, and knowing that he had started it. And now he wanted me to save him. The next day, things got worse. At work, during my lunch break, I opened my phone to clear the notifications. Mason had written again, but this time, the message was longer, pages long. I shouldn't have read it, but I did. He said he hated himself for what he did to me, that he replayed it in his head for years, that outing me wasn't just betrayal, it was him projecting his own fear. He admitted that after he told my parents, he cried in the bathroom for hours, but still never once apologized. He admitted he avoided me on purpose because seeing me reminded him of what he had done. And then he wrote, "I don't deserve your forgiveness, but if you could just give me 5 minutes to speak, I'll never bother you again if you don't want me in your life." I sat there staring at the screen, heart hammering, when suddenly another notification appeared. A Facebook tag. Mason had tagged me in a post. My hands shook as I opened it. It was public. A long, messy post about how he was trying to reach out to my cousin Darren, but he refuses to talk to me. He said I was the only person who could understand, that he had nowhere else to turn, that he didn't know if he could keep going if I didn't help him. Comments were already piling in. Old friends, mutual family, even a few people I hadn't spoken to in years. Some were sympathetic, telling him to stay strong. But some were calling me out by name. Why won't Darren help? Aren't they family? Seriously, ignoring him when he's struggling? That's cold. I wanted to throw my phone across the room. My privacy, my pain, my story, all dragged into the open without my permission. That night, Claire called me. "I saw the post," she said, her voice tense. "Are you okay?" "No," I whispered. "No, I'm not." She was silent for a moment, then said, "You don't have to forgive him. But Darren, if this keeps spiraling, people are going to twist it into making you the villain. You need to decide what you want to do." I wanted to scream, to cry, to punch a wall. Instead, I just sat there, the weight of it crushing me. Because deep down, I didn't know what I wanted. Did I want him to suffer the way I had? Or did I want to finally let go of this hatred that had been burning a hole in me for 10 years? I didn't know. All I knew was that Mason had taken my voice once. And now, somehow, he was taking it again. Last night felt like a storm I couldn't escape. It started with the missed call from Mason. The little red notification sat on my phone screen like a warning sign, and my chest tightened just seeing his name there. I didn't answer. My fingers hovered over the screen, but I couldn't bring myself to press it. Then, the messages started pouring in. Not just one or two. Dozens. Back to back. Like he was holding down the send button in desperation. He told me he was sleeping in his car because his parents had locked him out. He described parking near a 24-hour grocery store because it felt safer with the lights on. He wrote that he hadn't eaten properly in days, that he was running out of money, that the nights were cold. And still, even as the words painted this miserable picture, I couldn't shake the memory of the night he ruined me. 16 years old, standing in my parents' living room while they shouted at me, while Mason's silence sat heavy in the background. He didn't defend me. He didn't soften the blow. He handed me over like a secret he wanted destroyed. So I didn't answer. Instead, I called Claire. When she picked up, her voice was low, like she already knew why I was calling. I didn't even have to say Mason's name. She sighed and said, "He messaged me too." That floored me. My heart dropped. I asked what he had said, and she told me everything. How Mason had admitted to her that he was terrified. How he sounded broken on the phone, his voice shaking like he was one wrong word away from falling apart completely. "Darren," she said softly. I know what he did to you. I was there. I defended you that night. But I think he knows exactly what he destroyed. And maybe that's why he's reaching out to you, and not me, not anyone else. You're the one he wronged. You're the one he feels he has to face. I wanted to yell at her. I wanted to ask her why she was siding with him, why she sounded like she was asking me to open a door I had nailed shut a decade ago. But instead, I just sat there in silence. Finally, I said, if he needs help, then you help him, not me. She agreed without arguing, but her voice cracked a little. I will. But Darren, don't confuse helping him with forgiving him. They're not the same thing. I hung up feeling heavier than before. I thought that was the end of it for the night. But around midnight, my phone buzzed again. One more message from Mason. It wasn't long, but it gutted me. I know you hate me. I deserve it. But if you never speak to me again, at least know I am sorry. I've carried that guilt every single day. I ruined our bond. And if this is the last thing I ever say to you, I need you to know that. I read it once, twice, over and over until the words blurred. I wanted to throw my phone across the room, but I couldn't put it down. Part of me wanted to believe him, that he was sorry, that he had carried the weight of this betrayal just like I had carried the scars. But another part of me screamed that it was too little, too late. That 10 years of silence couldn't be undone with a few desperate sentences sent from the back seat of a car. Sleep was impossible. I tossed and turned, those words echoing in my head, fighting against the memory of his smirk the day after he outed me. The way he looked at me like he had won something. Did guilt erase that? Did suffering balance the scales? When the sun finally came up, I still hadn't answered him. And now I don't know what's worse, ignoring him while he spirals, or opening the door to him and tearing open wounds I've spent a decade trying to close.
You are not the AITA here. Mason detonated a nuclear betrayal in your life and walked away without even attempting to patch the crater for a decade. That silence wasn't just distance, it was abandonment wrapped in cowardice. Now that his world is collapsing, he's decided you're the lifeline, and he's dragging your family into it to guilt-trip you into saving him. That isn't accountability, it's desperation weaponized against you. The guilt he feels might be real, but regret doesn't entitle him to access, and his suffering doesn't erase your scars. If you step in, it should be because you want to, not because your mom rolls her eyes or Facebook commenters pressure you. Protecting yourself isn't cruelty, it's survival. So no, you're not the AITA for keeping the door shut. If anything, Mason is the AITA for trying to pry it open with other people's hands. Before we jump into the next story, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know your favorite part in the comments.
Story 2.
My name is Julia. I'm 29. 2 weeks ago, my cousin Ryan, who's 25, asked me for something that's been eating at me ever since. Ryan and I grew up almost like siblings. Our parents were close, so we spent every summer together. He was always the one who'd pull me into trouble, sneaking out, daring me to do things I'd never have done on my own. I loved him, but I also learned to be careful around him. He always had big ideas, but not much follow-through. Now, as adults, that pattern hasn't changed much. I've been steady, working full-time, paying down my student loans, slowly building up savings so I can hopefully buy my own place in a few years. Ryan has drifted from job to job, always chasing something new. 2 weeks ago, he asked me to co-sign a loan with him. He said he wanted to start a small business, a food truck. He already had the truck in mind and said the bank would only approve him if he had a co-signer. When he asked, I froze. On the surface, it sounded harmless, family helping family. But I know how loans work. If he falls behind, the debt lands on me. And with everything I've worked so hard to build, that risk terrified me. I told him I couldn't. I tried to explain that it wasn't about him personally.
It was about protecting myself.
I told him I wasn't in a position to tie my name to anyone else's finances. He didn't take it well. He said I clearly didn't believe in him, that I thought he was a failure. He even threw in, "You've always thought you're better than me just because you play it safe." The words stung more than I expected. Since then, he's been cold. At a recent family dinner, he barely looked at me. When I tried to talk to him, he brushed me off with one-word answers. Our family is split about it. My mom told me I did the right thing, that no matter how much you love someone, you don't gamble with your financial future. My uncle, Ryan's dad, said I should have stepped up. He said Ryan just needed someone to believe in him and that I crushed his shot before he even started. Now I'm stuck in the middle, replaying everything. I don't want Ryan to think I don't love him. I just didn't want to risk everything I've been working toward. So now I'm asking, am I the bad one here for saying no, even though technically I could have said yes?
You are not the AITA here. Signing on to someone else's debt isn't a gesture of love, it's basically volunteering to be their financial crash test dummy. Ryan's frustration is understandable because dreams are fragile, but turning his disappointment into accusations is unfair. Believing in him doesn't require attaching your credit score like a parachute to his food truck. You can cheer him on, taste test his recipes, even help him brainstorm branding, but risking your entire future isn't the price of cousinly loyalty. My suggestion? Hold your boundary, offer moral support instead of monetary backing, and maybe slip in some some humor, tell him you'll promote his truck on Instagram for free, but you're not about to co-sign that Julia owes the bank express. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Got a story to share? Drop it in the comments and let us know which one was your favorite. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely want to check out AITA for refusing my dad birthday plans. Click here to watch it now.